Rain poured down like the heavens had broken open, flooding the lonely highway. A battered old truck skidded to a halt near a roadside ditch. Inside, Ryan Carter, a man in his early 30s with tired eyes and calloused hands, gripped the steering wheel, muttering under his breath. He was late again. His little boy was waiting at home, probably hungry, probably wondering if his dad had forgotten him. But then he saw them. A woman, barefoot, soaked to the bone, sitting on the edge of the road, clutching a little girl no older than 4. Her arms were wrapped around the child like a shield. Her face was bruised, her white dress clinging to her skin. In her lap were 3 dirty pieces of fruit, as if that's all they had in the world. Ryan slammed the truck door open, boots splashing in the muddy water as he ran toward them. "Hey, are you okay?" His voice cut through the pounding rain. The woman flinched, tightening her grip on the child. Her eyes, wide, terrified, darted to the shadows behind him, like she expected someone to come after her. Ryan crouched down, lowering his voice. "You're safe. I'm not gonna hurt you. Please, let me help." For a moment, all he could hear was the storm and the child's soft whimper. The woman's lips trembled. Then, with a broken whisper, she said the words that would change his life forever. "Please, don't let him find us." Ryan didn't ask who he was. He didn't need to. The bruises on her arms told him everything. Without another word, he extended his hand. Slowly, she took it. In one swift motion, Ryan scooped up the little girl and guided the woman to his truck. As he slammed the door and sped off into the storm, one thought burned in his mind. Who could do this to them? The old pickup rattled down the empty highway, rain hammering against the windshield like bullets. Ryan gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white, his jaw clenched. Every few seconds, he glanced at the rearview mirror. The woman sat in the back seat, shivering, her arms locked around the child as if letting go would mean losing her forever. Her long hair clung to her face, and her dress, once white, was now stained with mud and blood. Ryan wanted to speak, but he didn't know what to say. He wasn't good with words. His life was about survival, working double shifts, paying overdue bills, and raising his 6-year-old son alone since cancer stole his wife 3 years ago. He wasn't the guy who rescued strangers in the middle of nowhere. And yet, here he was. Finally, his voice broke the silence. "Name." The woman's head jerked up. Her lips parted, but no sound came out at first. Then softly, "Emma." Ryan nodded. "And her?" He tilted his head toward the little girl, now fast asleep against her mother's chest. "Lily," she whispered. Her fingers brushed through the child's tangled hair. "Please, don't tell anyone you saw us." Ryan frowned, eyes narrowing on the dark road ahead. "I'm not calling anyone. I just need to know. Are you in trouble?" Emma's eyes glistened in the dim light. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then a single tear slid down her cheek. "He'll kill me if he finds me." The weight of those words hit Ryan like a punch. He didn't press further. Whoever he was, Ryan knew enough. She wasn't safe. And now, neither was he. By the time they reached his small farmhouse on the edge of town, the storm had turned the dirt road into a river of mud. Ryan killed the engine, grabbed a blanket from the back seat, and draped it over Emma's shoulders. "You can stay here tonight," he said, his voice firm but gentle. "No one will find you here." Emma hesitated, clutching Lily tighter. "Why are you helping us?" Ryan looked into her tear-streaked face, and for the first time, she saw something behind his rugged features. Pain, and maybe a bit of hope. "Because no one helped me when I needed it most." The words hung heavy in the air as he led them inside. The house was warm but modest. Faded curtains, worn-out couch, children's toys scattered on the floor. A small photo frame sat on the mantel. A smiling woman holding a little boy. Emma noticed Ryan glance at it, his jaw tightening before he turned away. He handed her a towel. "Bathrooms down the hall. Get dry. I'll make something hot." As she walked toward the bathroom, barefoot and trembling, Ryan stared after her with a sinking feeling in his gut. Who was this woman? What kind of danger had she brought to his doorstep? And why did he feel like protecting her was the only thing that mattered now? The smell of coffee filled the small kitchen as Ryan moved quietly, careful not to wake the two fragile souls sleeping in the guest room. He glanced at the clock. 5:30 a.m. Another long day ahead. He rinsed his hands in the sink, staring out the window at the gray dawn breaking over the wet fields. For a moment he let the stillness sink in. It was the first quiet morning in months without his son's cough echoing through the house. Ryan's 6-year-old, Ethan, had been fighting asthma since birth. Medical bills stacked higher than his wages. Half the time, Ryan worked himself to exhaustion on construction sites just to keep the lights on. The other half, he prayed nothing happened to Ethan when he wasn't around. He reached into his wallet and pulled out the photo tucked behind his driver's license. Claire, his wife. Her smile still pierced through him like glass. Cancer had taken her 3 years ago, and with her went every dream Ryan ever had. Since then, life was about surviving, not living. And now, Emma, Lily, two strangers under his roof, carrying secrets that could burn everything down. Ryan rubbed a hand over his face. He should have called the cops last night. That would have been the smart thing, the safe thing. But then he remembered Emma's eyes. Those eyes filled with the same kind of desperation he'd once seen in his own reflection after Claire died. That was why he couldn't turn them away. A soft creak pulled him out of his thoughts. He turned to see Emma standing in the doorway, Lily clinging to her leg like a shadow. She looked different in Ethan's oversized hoodie and sweatpants he'd lent her. Still fragile, but a little less broken. "You didn't have to cook for us?" she said softly, glancing at the scrambled eggs sizzling in the pan. Ryan shrugged. "Kid needs a good breakfast." Emma gave a faint smile and stroked Lily's hair. But Ryan noticed something in her movements. A flinch every time thunder rumbled. Eyes darting to the window as if expecting someone to burst in. He handed her a plate. "Sit. Eat. You both need it." Lily climbed into a chair, and for a few minutes, the room was quiet except for the sound of forks against plates. Then came the question Ryan had been holding back since last night. "Emma? Whoever you're running from, is he gonna come looking for you?" Her hand froze halfway to her mouth. Slowly, she set the fork down. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "He's not gonna stop." Ryan's stomach tightened. "Who is he?" Emma looked at Lily, her trembling fingers brushing crumbs off the child's cheek. "Someone powerful. Someone who thinks we belong to him." Before Ryan could press for more, the sound of small feet pounding down the hall broke the tension. Ethan came running in, messy-haired and grinning when he saw the plate of eggs. But when his eyes landed on Emma and Lily, he stopped dead in his tracks. Ryan crouched and ruffled his son's hair. "Ethan, this is Emma and her little girl, Lily. They're staying with us for a while." Ethan blinked at them, then gave a shy wave. Lily peeked from behind her mother and whispered a tiny hi, and in that moment, seeing his boys smile, and Lily's timid one in return, Ryan felt something stir in his chest. Something dangerous. Hope. But before the warmth could settle, Ryan's phone buzzed on the counter. He glanced at the screen. Unknown number. His gut turned cold. The phone buzzed again. Ryan stared at the glowing screen, his jaw tightening. Another unknown number. He let it ring until it stopped, then tossed the phone back on the counter like it was burning his hand. Emma watched him, her fork unmoving, her eyes filled with silent questions. "Spam call?" Ryan muttered, though he didn't believe it himself. His gut had been screaming since last night. After breakfast, Ryan headed outside to load his truck for work. The rain had slowed, leaving the yard a swamp of mud and puddles. He tossed his tool belt into the back, then froze. Tire tracks, deep ones, fresh ones. His farm sat at the end of a dead-end dirt road. Nobody came out here unless they meant to. Ryan scanned the tree line, his pulse thundering. For a second, he thought he saw a shadow, then nothing. When he walked back inside, Emma was folding the blanket on the couch. Lily sat playing with Ethan's toy trucks, her giggle soft but real. For a moment, it looked like a normal morning in a normal home. But then Emma looked up at him, and he saw it in her eyes. She knew something, and she was terrified. Ryan leaned against the doorframe. You want to tell me what the hell's going on? Emma swallowed hard. Her fingers twisted in the fabric of the blanket. You wouldn't understand. Try me, Ryan said, his voice low but sharp. I got a kid to protect. If someone's coming, I need to know who and why. For a long moment, Emma didn't speak. Then her voice came out like broken glass. His name is Victor Hale. Ryan frowned. The name didn't ring a bell. And Emma's lips trembled. He's not just some man, Ryan. He owns people, businesses, police, judges. He's powerful. And he doesn't lose. Ryan's chest tightened. And Lily? Emma's hand shot out, pulling her daughter close. She's his. By blood. But not by choice. Her voice cracked. I was 17 when he... She stopped, pressing a trembling hand to her mouth. Tears welled in her eyes. I thought I could run. I thought I could keep her safe. Ryan felt like the floor dropped out from under him. He'd seen evil before in men who thought money made them gods. But this was a different breed of monster. Emma, he said slowly, does he know you came here? Her silence was answer enough. Before Ryan could respond, his phone buzzed again. He picked it up and froze. This time there was a message. A photo of his house, taken from the tree line. Ryan's blood ran cold. He looked out the window, scanning the distant woods. Nothing. Just silence. He turned back to Emma, his voice a harsh whisper. Pack a bag. Now. Ryan's boots pounded against the old wooden floor as he moved through the house, grabbing jackets, stuffing what little food they had into a bag. His mind raced, every nerve screaming to move faster. Emma, get Lily ready. We're leaving. Emma was already on her knees, tying Lily's shoes with shaking hands. The child didn't understand the urgency. She clutched Ethan's toy truck, eyes wide with confusion. Where will we go? Emma whispered, her voice cracking. Somewhere safe, Ryan said, though he didn't believe it himself. He had no plan, just the primal need to get them away from whatever waited outside those trees. Then came the sound that made his blood freeze. A knock, slow, measured, echoing through the silent house. Ryan's eyes shot to the door. Emma stiffened, clutching Lily so tight the little girl whimpered. The knock came again, 3 heavy thuds. Ryan moved to the window, pulling the curtain back just enough to peek outside. A black SUV sat in the driveway, gleaming in the pale morning light. His stomach knotted. Stay back, he whispered, reaching for the shotgun by the door. Then a voice called out. Calm, deep. Ryan Carter, open up. It's the police. Ryan froze. Police? His gut told him not to trust it. But then came the flash of red and blue lights behind the SUV. Another vehicle pulled up, marked unit. Emma's nails dug into his arm. No, don't open it. Please. Ryan stared at her. If it's the cops, they can help us. Tears streamed down her face as she shook her head. You don't understand. Victor owns them too. Before Ryan could decide, the voice came again. Louder this time. Mr. Carter, we need to talk to you. Now. Ryan tightened his grip on the shotgun, then slowly cracked the door open, his body blocking the view inside. 2 uniformed officers stood on the porch, water dripping from their hats. Behind them, a man in a black suit leaned casually against the SUV, his smile cold as ice. The taller officer spoke first. Sir, we've received a report about a missing woman and child. We need to check your property. Ryan's jaw clenched. You got a warrant? The officer's expression hardened. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. Emma's voice came from behind him, trembling. Ryan! Before he could react, the man in the suit stepped forward, his polished shoes splashing in a puddle. His voice was smooth, controlled. You must be Ryan. Thank you for keeping what's mine safe. Ryan's blood turned to ice. He didn't need a name. He knew this was Victor Hale, the monster Emma had been running from. Ryan raised the shotgun slightly, his heart hammering. They're not yours. Victor's smile widened, but his eyes were dead. Everything is mine, Mr. Carter, including the law. He glanced at the officers who didn't move an inch. Emma sobbed behind Ryan, clutching Lily like a shield. The little girl whimpered, "Mommy!" Victor's voice dropped, venomous. "Step aside, or I take the kid and bury you where no one will find you." Ryan's finger curled tighter on the trigger. He could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on him. Fight and die, or surrender and lose them forever. And then sirens. Real ones. Multiple. Wailing from a distance, growing louder. Victor's smile faltered for the first time. The officers stiffened, exchanging nervous glances. Victor's eyes turned to Ryan, cold and calculating. This isn't over. He backed toward the SUV, sliding inside just as 3 more police cars roared into the driveway, blocking his escape. Armed officers spilled out, guns drawn. Not for Ryan, but for Victor's men. A commanding voice shouted, "Victor Hale, you're under arrest." Emma gasped, clutching Ryan's arm as if she couldn't believe it. Victor's face hardened, his calm cracking for the first time. As they dragged him out in cuffs, he turned his glare on Emma. "You think this changes anything? I own everything. Everyone." But then the lead officer approached Ryan, his tone firm but respectful. "Mr. Carter, you did the right thing. We've been building a case against him for years. He made a mistake coming here." Emma's knees buckled. Ryan caught her before she hit the floor, holding her tight as Lily sobbed into his chest. For the first time in years, Ryan whispered words he never thought he'd say again. "You're safe now." But deep inside, he wondered, was that true? The house was silent after the chaos. The flashing lights were gone. The officers had taken Victor Hale away in handcuffs, and for the first time in what felt like a lifetime, the storm had passed. Both outside and inside these walls. Ryan sat on the old couch, staring at the mug of cold coffee in his hands. His shotgun leaned against the wall. Across the room, Emma sat with Lily curled up in her lap, the child finally asleep after hours of crying. Emma looked different now. The terror was still there, buried deep, but something new glimmered in her eyes. Freedom. Ryan broke the silence first. "You okay?" Emma's lips trembled as she nodded. I don't know how to thank you." "You don't have to," Ryan said, his voice low. "I just did what I had to." Her eyes dropped to the floor. "You didn't have to. You could have thrown us out, called the cops. But you didn't." She looked back at him, tears glistening. "Why?" Ryan swallowed hard. His gaze shifted to the photo of Claire on the mantel. "Because I know what it's like to lose everything. To feel like nobody's coming to save you." Emma's throat tightened. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Ryan stood and crossed the room, kneeling in front of her. "You're safe now. I promise." Emma's breath hitched. No one had promised her safety in years. She wanted to believe him, but Victor's last words still echoed in her mind. "I own everything. Everyone." "What if he gets out?" she whispered. Ryan's jaw hardened. "Then he'll have to go through me first." Something in his voice, steady, unyielding, wrapped around her like armor. For the first time since she ran, Emma felt the crushing weight on her chest ease. Lily stirred in her lap, murmuring softly. Emma kissed the top of her daughter's head. "She deserves a life," Emma said, her voice breaking. "A real life. Not running. Not hiding." Ryan reached out, his rough hand brushing a tear from her cheek. "She will." Their eyes locked, and in that moment, the walls both had built around their hearts began to crack. Ryan saw not just a woman broken by fear, but a mother fierce enough to fight for her child. And Emma saw not just a worn-down man, but a protector. A man who had lost, yet still chose to stand. The front door creaked open and Ethan peeked in, clutching his stuffed bear. "Dad!" Ryan smiled faintly and waved him over. Ethan trotted in, stopping shyly when he saw Emma and Lily. Emma managed a small smile. "Hi, Ethan." He grinned, glancing at Lily. "Does she like trucks?" Emma blinked, then laughed softly, a sound Ryan hadn't heard from her before. "I think she does." And just like that, the tension in the room shifted. Lily opened her eyes, sleepy but curious, and Ethan held out his toy. Lily took it with a tiny smile. Ryan watched them, something deep and unfamiliar stirring in his chest. For so long, life had been nothing but survival. But now, maybe there could be something more. Emma looked at him, her voice barely a whisper. What happens now? Ryan took a deep breath, his eyes steady on hers. Now we start over. For the first time in years, Emma allowed herself to believe in those words. And as the morning sun broke through the clouds, painting the room in gold, Ryan realized something he thought he'd lost forever. Hope.
Dear friend, if this story made you pause for even a moment, brought a tear to your eye, or stirred something deep inside your heart, then please give it a like and share. Maybe your one share becomes hope for someone else. And if you'd like to keep receiving stories that speak to the soul, don't forget to subscribe. It's the first step in our journey together. Oh, and please share your thoughts in the comments, because every word from you means the world to me. Thank you, truly, from the heart.